Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call to order the Cabarrus County Board of Education business meeting for Monday, September the 15th. And tonight we are delighted to have the Hickory Ridge High School chorus that will be singing our national anthem. Tonight, the colors will be presented by the Central Cabarrus High School Air Force Junior ROTC cadets. Cadet Technical Sergeant Cecia Castillo, American flag by Cadet Second Lieutenant Jared Davis, the North Carolina flag by Cadet Second Lieutenant Escobar East, and the left guard is Cadet Major DeAndre Brown. Will you please rise?
Mark died. Mark? Colors? Colors, sir. Mark? Detail. Halt. Reset. Color.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Order. Color. Pose. Color. All right. Eight. Hold. Mark.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in a round of applause for the chorus from Hickory Ridge High School. They did a fantastic job. Thank you very much for being here. We certainly do enjoy it when our students come to our meetings. Before we move forward, I would like to recognize Luke Zabo from Northwest Cabarrus High School. He's providing security tonight. Luke, thank you very much for being here. We certainly do appreciate it. With that, board members, I would like to ask for a motion that we adopt the agenda as presented.
So moved.
I have a motion from Mr. Harrison. And a second from Mr. Shoemaker. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries, and we will move on with 4.2, our Hilbish Ford Teacher of the Month. And we will ask Glenda to come to the podium with Mr. Tim Vaughn from Hilbish Ford.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and board members. Tonight we celebrate the beginning of the 5th year of a wonderful partnership with Hilbish Ford. Mr. Vaughn came to us back in the spring of 2011 with this proposal, and it didn't take us long to give him a resounding yes. We were able to name 3 Hilbish Ford Teachers of the Month that spring and began our first full school year of this recognition program the following fall. We kick off the 2014-15 school year by honoring our 34th Hilbish Ford Teacher of the Month. Thank you, Mr. Vaughn, for Hilbish Ford's amazing and sustained commitment to the teachers of Cabarrus County Schools. And we are ever so grateful for your support. Now, on to tonight's award. The Cabarrus County Schools Hilbish Ford Teacher of the Month for September is Jaslyn Davies. Miss Davies, would you and your family and any members of your school administrative team come down?
Don't worry, I'll get all the pictures.
All right. Jaslyn Davis is a second grade teacher at Wolf Meadow Elementary School. She was nominated for this month's award by a grandparent who wrote, Miss Davies dedicates hours of her time to her students' academics and well-being. She has such a positive and uplifting attitude, and she works to build a lasting relationship with her students and their families. She deserves this award because she makes an impact on her children's lives. Ms. Davies, on behalf of Cabarrus County Schools, thank you for your commitment and dedication to your students and for building a nurturing relationship with them and their families. Now, Mr. Vaughn will present you with your award.
Well, congratulations, Ms. Davies, and for a job well done. And Tim Vaughn and Hilbish Ford, thank you very much for your continued support of Cabarrus County Schools and our teachers. Now we will ask Ms. Ronnie Boone to the podium for our Impact Through Education Awards.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, board members. It's been a while since I've been up here. I forgot to turn on the microphone. It is indeed my pleasure to kick off the 2014-2015 school year and the Impact Through Education Awards program. Each month, we are able to honor 2 students, 2 staff members from 2 schools for their contributions to their school community. And we owe that all to the great generosity of our friends at Concord Printing. This is the 3rd consecutive year that Concord Printing has agreed to sponsor these awards. So we want to thank them for their continued support of this program and thank the Palmer family for reaching out to us and always answering the call when we reach out to them and say, can you help us? We also like to thank our friends at the Cabarrus Regional Chamber who share the presenting sponsorship tag with us in presenting these awards to our students and staff members each month. Now on to tonight's awards. We will begin honoring students and staff members at Patriots Elementary School this evening, as well as students and staff at C.C. Griffin Middle School. So on to the awards for Patriots Elementary School. I'd like to invite any members of the Patriots Elementary School administrative team to come forward to stand with their students and staff, please. Are any of them here? Go up front, Phil. Stand up front. Right there. Right there. Our first honoree from Patriots Elementary School this evening is Ellie Smith. Would Ellie and her family please come forward? Step forward just a little bit. Yeah, there you go. Thank you. Ellie is an outgoing and creative third grader who loves spending time with her family and is viewed by her peers as a friend to all. Ellie is artistic. She loves to draw, dance, paint, choreograph dance routines, and write song lyrics. She enjoys making gifts for others and doing outdoor activities such as swimming and playing in the park. Ellie's second grade teacher, Mrs. Dry, describes Ellie as an enthusiastic learner who excels at everything she does. Ellie exhibits leadership skills beyond her years, is trustworthy, dependable, and a model student. Ellie looks for the beauty in others and in everything she sees. Ellie's leadership and commitment to doing what's right has made a positive impact on Patriots STEM Elementary and the Red Hawk family. Congratulations, Ellie. You are an Impact Through Education Award winner for Patriots Elementary School. Thank you. Our next Patriots honoree is Etta Knoll. Would Etta and her family please come forward? Noel. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I mispronounced your last name. Noel, I'm sorry. Etta Noel is an environmentally conscious second grader who has initiated a number of energy-saving activities at Patriot STEM Elementary. These activities include the LOLO, Last Out, Lights Out campaign, and the Crabbit contest, a fun reminder to turn off electronic devices when not in use. Etta's goal is to help preserve our planet. She has worked with her father to research the recycling program in Harrisburg, and together they presented their findings to the Parks and Recreation Board, as well as to the Town Council, and as a result, more recycling bins were added to the parks. Etta's teacher describes her as a model student who tries her best at everything she does. She is a born leader who loves a challenge. Etta is a Girl Scout who also loves to play the piano, perform at church, play softball, and has taken both dance and martial arts classes. Etta Noel is a proud Red Hawk who has made a positive impact on Patriot STEM Elementary and her community. Congratulations, Etta. You are an Impact Through Education Award winner for Patriots Elementary School. Our next Patriots honoree is Sherry Lee. Would Ms. Lee and her family please come forward? Squeeze in a little closer to Mom. There you go. Administrators seek Sherry Lee's input and respect her opinions. Fellow teachers seek her guidance and insight on classroom instruction and management. And parents seek her to be their child's teacher. Ms. Lee came to Patriots when the school opened 5 years ago after having had tours of duty at Weinkauf, Coltrane Webb, and Pitt School Road elementary schools for a total of 17 combined years of service. She left the school system for a while and served with the Concord Fire Department as the fire safety educator and communications director. But fortunately for us, she returned to work her magic in the classroom. From the beginning at Patriots, she emerged as a leader, serving as a grade-level chair, a mentor, PTO board member, and cooperating teacher to 2 student teachers. She is also a parent to 3 Patriots students in 2nd, 3rd, and 5th grades. Anyone who has seen her in action in both roles would say that she is as good a mom as she is a teacher. Ms. Lee is a gifted and exceptional teacher. Students in her room have more of an experience rather than just another year of school. They enjoy their time with her and remember it fondly. They are excited to learn and participate in lessons, which are always interactive, and they are disappointed on those rare occasions when she is out and there is a substitute filling in for her. Ms. Lee makes her students feel special, respected, challenged, and most importantly, loved. Congratulations, Mrs. Lee, and thank you for making an impact through education at Patriots Elementary School. And our final honoree from Patriots Elementary School this evening is Mr. David Weaver. Would Mr. Weaver and his family please come forward? David Weaver is the head custodian at Patriots Elementary School, but he has many other attributes that make a positive difference in the culture of the school. Patriots staff, students, and parents have become accustomed to a clean and orderly building and grounds, and that does not come without the hard work and dedication of the school's custodial crew, which is largely inspired by the leadership and the example set by Mr. Weaver. He is also a perfectionist. If his floors are not shiny enough, or if the trash cans are not emptied in a timely manner, it bothers him. And he will not rest until all is as it should be and according to his standards. He's always moving quickly, but never seems to be in a hurry. He's ultra conscientious and takes pride in the school. He cannot walk past a smudge on a window without whipping out his trademark orange cloth from his back pocket and cleaning it off while barely breaking a stride. Even the smallest piece of trash on the floor never escapes his trained eye. He also has the gift of patience and a sincere understanding that kids make messes. He often says of his work, "It can be a dirty job, but it's my job." Mr. Weaver's positive spirit is contagious. He always has time to greet a child or help someone in need. It is not just what he does, but how he does it that sets him apart. The county maintenance staff speak very highly of him, and they know that he is the go-to guy for anything at Patriots having to do with the grounds or the building. They even use him to teach other custodians in the system how to buff and clean floors because he is an expert, but his humble spirit would never allow him to consider himself to be an expert at anything. Although he is credited for all of the previously mentioned attributes, it is also noted that he does far more than performing custodial duties at the school. He can be seen at various times directing campus traffic, greeting students and parents every morning in the car rider line, and attending Patriots functions with his wonderful family. Thank you, Mr. Weaver, for making an impact through education at Patriots Elementary School. Congratulations.
Ronnie, I'm going to go off script here briefly.
Sure.
Before I got on the board, I had the distinct pleasure of having to work with Mr. Weaver when I ran the basketball program in Harrisburg. He probably doesn't even remember that was me. But you would not absolutely find a finer example of somebody who was the face of an entire school to an outside group, the job that he did to help us prepare and get the gym ready for the kids that were coming to play ball at Patriots. And it was the first year the school was open. So congratulations on your award. I saw it firsthand, and you did a tremendous job. So thank you very much for your hard work.
We're now ready to move on to honoring our Impact Through Education Award winners for C.C. Griffin Middle School, and I'd like to ask any members of the C.C. Griffin Middle School administrative team to come forward to stand with their students and staff. Our first honoree from C.C. Griffin Middle School this evening is Javier Del Toro Negron. Would Javier and his family please come forward? Javier Del Toro is an outstanding 8th grader at C.C. Griffin Middle School. He is extraordinarily respectful of his peers and teachers, environmentally conscious, and is always interested in helping others in any way he can. Javier's teachers describe him as a self-motivated, lifelong learner who is articulate, tech-savvy, well-read, and globally aware. Javier was born in Puerto Rico and learned to speak English when he visited his uncle during summer vacations. He began attending school in the United States in the 3rd grade and believes that education is the way that people make progress to a better life. When he grows up, Javier would like to work in robotics or study the human brain. Javier says that he is always curious, and you will often find him disassembling electronics or toys simply because he loves to know how things work. Javier says that the things he loves most about C.C. Griffin are his great teachers, his friends, and the opportunities he receives to go on amazing field trips. He is most excited to travel with the rest of the 8th grade class to Washington, D.C. in February, and hopes to catch a glimpse of some politicians while he's there. When asked what is special about Javier, his teachers respond with stories about his kindness. He gladly offers to help others in academic subjects, loves to assist with Spanish translation, and is always prepared with a friendly smile or kind word to make someone's day. Congratulations, Javier. You are an Impact Through Education Award winner for C.C. Griffin Middle School. Our next honoree from C.C. Griffin is Sine Davis. Would Sine and her family please come forward? Sine Davis is another outstanding 8th grader at C.C. Griffin Middle School. She loves to participate in extracurricular activities and has taken part in Math 24, the Fire Safety Bowl, and Junior Beta Club. She is an honor roll student and last year had the high honor of being the only 7th grade student with all A's for the entire school year. Sine's athletic ability is impressive as well. She excels in cheerleading, soccer, basketball, softball, and track. Her coaches call her a natural leader, and her fellow cheerleaders chose her to be co-captain for the 8th grade squad. Sine is compassionate and volunteers to help others on a regular basis. She has a positive personality, and her teachers say that they can always count on her for a smile to brighten their day. She's always able to find the lighter side of a negative situation and believes that she is meant to help people by making them laugh when they are sad. Sine enjoys drawing, singing, dancing, and hanging out with her friends in her spare time. She wants to be a fashion designer when she grows up, and she's looking forward to high school and is excited to learn sign language and more math. According to Sine, she has always had a mind for math and is excited to move on to more advanced classes. When asked what makes Sine special, her teachers are quick to answer. She is a wonderfully mature girl who makes great decisions on a regular basis. She is the very definition of a role model. Congratulations, Sine. You are an Impact Through Education Award winner for C.C. Griffin Middle School. Our next C.C. Griffin Middle School honoree is Mr. Chris Klein. Would Mr. Klein and his family please come forward? Chris Klein currently serves as the math facilitator and athletic director at C.C. Griffin Middle School. From the time the school opened until this year when he took on his current leadership roles, Mr. Klein taught math and coached at C.C. Griffin. He has had a true metamorphosis during his tenure as classroom teacher. He once was known as one of the most traditional teachers in the building and one that ruled with an iron fist. While there were seldom discipline issues in his classroom, there also wasn't much time for student dialogue. His students from a decade ago would be shocked to see the change in his approach to homework and classroom instruction. They simply wouldn't believe that he was actually quoted this year as saying, "You know, you don't have to give homework every night." From an outsider's perspective, it may seem that Mr. Klein is getting soft with his expectations. But those that work closely with him know that he is more passionate now than ever about math instruction. Through his roles as a math facilitator, leadership team member, athletic director, and Math AIG chairperson, Mr. Klein positively and significantly impacts the total school and extracurricular programs at C.C. Griffin Middle School. Over the years, Mr. Klein's athletic teams have earned several championship trophies, and his students have consistently shown tremendously high rates of proficiency and growth on the EOG and EOC tests. Those accomplishments are noteworthy, but the most significant and lasting impact he has made is the shift in mathematics instructional delivery. Mr. Klein has worked diligently with a professor from UNC Charlotte to learn, implement, and now facilitate the inquiry approach to math instruction. His efforts are transforming the depth of thinking required for C.C. Griffin students. Mr. Klein has a deep love for all that is C.C. Griffin. He was a part of its creation and has been an instrumental part of every change process the school has experienced. The students and staff at C.C. Griffin Middle School are truly blessed to have someone as passionate as Chris Klein in their midst. Thank you, Mr. Klein, for the impact you make at C.C. Griffin Middle School. Congratulations. And our final honoree from C.C. Griffin Middle School this evening is Mrs. Pamela Dulaney. Would Ms. Dulaney and her family please come forward? Pamela Delaney currently serves as the head custodian for C.C. Griffin Middle School, but her impact on the school began years ago with her work as a member of the school nutrition staff in the C.C. Griffin Middle School Cafe. From there, she transitioned into the role of a member of the school's custodial team. Her work ethic and commitment to the school made her the logical choice when the head custodial position became vacant last year. Ms. Delaney has an optimistic outlook on life, and her pleasant nature is contagious. She is notorious for brightening someone's day by a kind gesture, an unexpected note of gratitude, or a sweet treat left behind. Any request for assistance is met with eagerness, willingness, and a genuine desire to help others. Due to her effective leadership of her custodial team and her commitment to the school at large, C.C. Griffin Middle School has never been in better shape and definitely does not appear to be 13 years old. Ms. Delaney's success in her current role is largely due to the fact that she values people and the strengths they bring to the organization. She consistently models the behaviors she wishes to see in her team. Her energy, charisma, incredible sense of humor set the tone for a truly enjoyable work environment. Her impact on C.C. Griffin Middle School goes far beyond the required task of a head custodian. She is intentional and successful in her attempts to improve the lives of all that cross her path. Thank you, Ms. Delaney, for all that you do for C.C. Griffin Middle School, and congratulations on receiving this award.
Thank you, Ronnie, and congratulations again to all of the Impact Through Education Award winners, and we certainly do appreciate Concord Printing for sponsoring that. Okay, board members, we will move on to Section 5, the approval of the minutes from the August 4th, 2014 work session and the August 11th, 2014 business meeting. I need a motion and a second to approve the minutes as presented.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Shue. I have a motion by Mr. Shue.
Second.
And a second by Mr. Harrison. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries and those minutes are approved, and we'll move on to Section 6. board chair comments, and tonight I just would like to tell the community that on September 23rd, our board will be having a local community meeting at Northwest Cabarrus High School. We're going to do 4 of these over the next school year, and will be the first one. So on September the 23rd, from 6:30 to 8 at Northwest Cabarrus High School, we will be having an open forum where you can address the board and have some interaction. We actually will do a little bit different than we do here, where we will be able to respond to questions or act and have an active dialogue instead of just listening to citizens' comments. So we hope you will come out and join us on September the 23rd. And with that, I will turn it over to Dr. Shepard and his comments.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to begin by welcoming everyone back to the 2014-15 school year. We've had a smooth start to the year and excited about educating the 30,763 students, I think it is, as of today, Matthew, enrolled in Cabarrus County schools. I'd also like to invite our viewing audience to check out the latest edition of our digital magazine, the Cabarrus County Schools Lookbook. This interactive magazine features videos, narratives, and facts and figures to tell the stories of Cabarrus County schools. You can find the magazine at our website, which is www.cabarrusschools.info. We'd like to recognize Ms. Marla Garrity, a second grade teacher at W.R. Odell Elementary School, for being selected as the very first Hometown Hero Teacher for Cabarrus County Schools. As you may recall, the Hometown Hero Teacher Award is sponsored by the Charles G. Monette and Associates law firm and honors an outstanding teacher from school districts in the area with $250 for school supplies, and for good measure, Domino's caters a pizza party for the winning teacher's class. The Prize Patrol surprised Ms. Garrity on September 5th and presented her with her award in her classroom. We also want to recognize our teachers who have been chosen to participate in the Governor's Teacher Network. Congratulations to Amanda Andrews at Weinkauf, Melissa Brantley at W.M. Irvin, Amy Brewer at Concord Middle, Alice Helms at Cox Mill High, Michael Landers at Mount Pleasant High, and Jenny Parker at Cox Mill Elementary. The Governor's Teacher Network is a partnership between the Governor and the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction. This initiative is funded by the state's Race to the Top grant and provides a platform for teachers to share their best work around instruction and professional development. The goal of the program is to help advance Race to the Top funded educational remodeling efforts across the state. There are 450 outstanding teachers from across North Carolina participating in the network. We appreciate the work that our teachers are doing, and as a part of this initiative, we know that they will have a great impact on developing instructional resources for teachers statewide. Last week, the United Way celebrated its Season of Caring. Education Center employees participated by volunteering at CVAN. If you want to see a picture of Dr. Kirk at work, he's on our website currently now from the Season of Caring adventure. This is the 3rd consecutive year that our central office staff volunteered at the shelter, helping to get the grounds pristine condition and the 5th year that we participated in the overall Season of Caring project. And finally, I just want to share a few important dates with you. Next Tuesday, September 23rd, is our annual CCS College Fair. We've outgrown our original location and will be holding this year's fair at the Cabarrus Arena in Gold Hall 1. Representatives from dozens of colleges will be on hand from 6 until 7:30. And on September 24th, we will distribute our first quarter progress reports. But in the meantime, parents can log on to the Power School Parent Portal to view their students' grades. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Shepard, and congratulations to all the award winners that you identified. We will move on to Section 7, our guest speakers. And guest speakers may be scheduled on the agenda of the board's business meeting by calling the board clerk by 12 noon on the Friday prior to the meeting. Individuals addressing the board may speak for 3 minutes, and persons representing a group may speak for 5 minutes. The Board of Education would like to thank our guests for their interest in addressing the board and also for their cooperation in presenting the information within the time frame allotted. Tonight, we have 3 guest speakers that have asked to speak, and the first will be Stephanie Stanford.
I am speaking to you today on behalf of concerned parents of C.C. Griffin Middle School. My name is Stephanie Standiford, and I have 3 children at this school. My daughter came home 1 week into school with head lice. I understand how common head lice is in public schools. I also understand how easy it is to spread head lice from children to children. I called the nurse to inform her about my daughter's head lice, and she told me that if I treated the lice and removed all the bugs, that she could come back to school the next morning. I was a bit surprised by this. I asked about the nits. I know that they are difficult to remove and require multiple treatments. This is when I was informed about the policy change. I made some phone calls and was put in contact with Mr. Shepard's assistant. I was told that the policy was changed because too many children were missing school, as they should be. I was also informed that lice do not carry diseases and that the information she had came directly from the CDC. Head lice may not spread disease, but they do irritate the skin, which can cause infection. There is also not any proof stating that nits, which are unhatched eggs, only hatch at night. So it is very possible that they can hatch anytime, even in a classroom full of students. This whole experience has cost me close to $70. I have vacuumed my carpets, beds, sofas, pillows, bagged up every stuffed animal in my home, threw it in my garage, and sprayed every surface in my house with Lysol. I have treated every member of my family, even those not infested, because this whole thing has my skin crawling. I want to feel comfortable sending my children to school and know that they are not going to bring home an infestation into my home. I urge you all to put yourselves in my shoes and imagine having to deal with this. I urge you to consider my words and revise this policy. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Standiford. And our next speaker will be Mr. Scott Behringer.
Good evening, Mr. Chair and board members. I'm Scott Behringer from 1409 North Main Street in Mount Pleasant, eastern Cabarrus County. The purpose here tonight is I want to address the board in regards to the construction proposal of the Mount Pleasant Middle School. The middle school, of course, the oldest part, based on the data I got from the school system, was built in 1936. The elementary school, which is a section I think we constantly forget about, was built in 1972, which is 42 years old. One thing I want to talk about is look at long-range planning. I know as a school system, long-range planning is very important. And look at the production of the property that you have at the elementary school. That property sits on the sort of a side of a little cliff, and there's really no room for reconstruction or building to that facility. So in long-range planning, I ask you to look at the facility of purchasing additional property that would house both the middle school and the elementary school on one piece of property. And I know that proposal has been sent to the board, and 2 pieces of property have been identified, one in the city limits of Mount Pleasant and one that is adjacent to the city limits of Mount Pleasant. I'd like the board to give great consideration to these pieces of property. The citizens of eastern Cabarrus County deserve the same facilities as the Winkler Middle School and Hickory Ridge Middle School. This property consists of anywhere between 40 to 60 acres for those properties. Again, I'd like to thank you for your time. There's several people that would be here, but due to a rain out on Friday night, the Mount Pleasant ball game is being played right now, so those people couldn't be here. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Behringer. Our next speaker will be Tracy Brown.
Should have said Tracy Brown and Co. Good evening. I stand before you tonight not as someone with nearly 20 years in property management, although that is a true fact, but as a mother of 3 children who are benefiting from the Cabarrus County school system. Let me introduce them, or better yet, let them introduce themselves. Go ahead. Okay.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth Brown. I am currently a 5th grader at Irvin Elementary.
Hi, my name is Faith Brown. I began attending Mount Pleasant Middle School in 2013. One of the first things I noticed was that all the technology that I had at WM Irvin was missing from some of the classrooms at Mount Pleasant Middle School. Some classes still needed smart boards, but there was not enough to go around. I enjoy the freedom to change classes, but up until the end of the year, anyone could have walked onto the campus, so thank you for fencing it in. And at the end of last year, even though there was security on staff, still a little bit insecure. Hi, my name is Jonathan. I'm a third grader at Irvin.
And Jonathan is all boy. He loves to run, and athletics are going to be a big part of his future. We as a family are citizens of eastern Cabarrus County. We pay the same taxes that other residents of Cabarrus County do. And if you don't already know, I'm here tonight to talk about Mount Pleasant Middle School. I agree that there are a lot of unknowns. For me, these unknowns include, what are you going to do with my children to keep them safe while the new middle school is erected? Are you going to bus them to another school? Bring in portables? Do you plan to allow random construction and construction workers to access the same areas during the day? Have you thought about heavy construction noise and how that is conducive for a non-learning environment? It's not very productive, to say the least. And what happens if something goes wrong during the construction and North Drive, having been closed, now inhibits first responders from reaching my children? Are you thinking strategically? Are you planning for the future? What happens once the 64 apartment complex starts leasing? How many of those children are going to be brought into the Mount Pleasant schools? Why are you tearing down ball fields and tennis courts when there's already a shortage of those, and it will only be compounded with even more students? This title probably should say 820 students now. More unknowns. How do you complete a new school with only half the funds needed? And why do you go into closed meetings to discuss the cost of building on site? What I have is 75 signatures of people in the past 2 days that are in favor of repurposing the middle school. I know that I'm running out of time, but I would like to submit those. That's just 2 days' worth of talking. I haven't met anyone opposed to repurposing the middle school. They are in favor of finding new land, and I want to encourage you to do your due diligence. It's worth taking a few extra days. I mean, people have been waiting for a new middle school since 2008. What's a few more weeks to find out what the people of Mount Pleasant really want? Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And if you'd like to give that, you can give that to the board clerk, Ms. Monroe. Thank you very much, Ms. Brown. And we will move on to Section 8 of our agenda, board members. This is the approval of our consent agenda. I need a motion and a second that the September 15th, 2014 consent agenda be approved as presented.
I will make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as amended.
I have a motion by Mr. Shoemaker.
Second.
I have a second by Mr. Harrison. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes, and the consent agenda is approved. We will move on to the action agenda, the adoption of 9.1, the adoption of the budget resolution. Ms. Clutch was not here last week, but we got a presentation from Mr. Emery, and there was some language that the board asked to add as D, and everybody, I hope you got a chance to read that. It read to me exactly like what we asked for, and I think Dr. Phillips was the one that kind of specifically brought that up, and he indicated, I'll let him speak if he wants to, but he indicated that it satisfied that what he was trying to accomplish.
I'm satisfied.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Phillips.
Dr. Sherman.
Does anybody else have any other comment? I don't know. There's no real reason to go all the way down, up and down. But Ms. Carpenter, I think you asked for this to be on the action. Do you have any specific comment you would like to make before we move forward? No. Okay. All those in favor? I need a motion and a second to approve the budget amendment.
I'll make the motion.
I have a motion by Mr. Walter.
I will second
I
it.
have a second by Dr. Phillips. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. That passes 7-0. Thank you, Kelly. We certainly do appreciate it. And we will move on to 9.2. We'll keep you up there. Sorry, I said thanks too soon.
That's
School
okay.
Resource Officer contracts. Again, we had some discussion about this, and if I don't know, I don't know if anybody has anything else they want to add. We will have maybe a comment from Mark.
I know one thing that I think Mr. Walter had suggested looking at is whether we wanted to add middle school, a reference to middle school SROs here. So I did go back and look at the county contract, which I know I shared a copy of, and they have agreed to provide those middle school officers in kind through 2017. So I did not change this one since we're talking about elementary school, but I did confirm that that is in the current county contract. I think there was a question about that.
Okay, thank you, Mark. And Mr. Harrison has a comment. I'm going to recognize him in a sec. So the language and everything we have, at least the legal side of it, you're recommending that we approve the contract in the language that we have.
I am. Just as a reminder, and I know we also had a discussion about duties of SROs, and there's a reference in the contract to a memorandum of understanding. We are still working on putting that together, and then we'll need input from the county and the city, so from the police department, sheriff's department, make sure we're on the same page. I think it's our hope that we will bring that back to you at a future meeting, but the model that I've seen in other districts and what we're recommending is you kind of have a contract that contains the financial terms, and we do need to do that now so we can get these officers done and Kelly can pay them. So we have the financial contracts here. I think the MOU that outlines what the respective duties of the SROs should be the same for all schools, and whether it's a city police officer or someone from the sheriff's department. So that is something we're working on and we'll bring to you at a future meeting that will outline those duties. So this is kind of the financial piece, and then the relationship with police will be covered in an MOU that we'll bring to you as soon as that's ready and has been reviewed with the other governmental groups.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you, Mark. Mr. Harrison, did you have a comment you want to make?
Yes, thanks for your diligence on all that research, Mark. We value the legal work that you do for us, and all that legwork is important. Can you tell us if I believe you said the City of Concord is able to make that commitment through or into 2017?
Well, exactly, yeah. The date, we have a long-term contract with the county that we negotiated back in 2012. So it goes through 2017, and the document before you is essentially a supplement to that says they're also going to now provide elementary school, and that runs through 2017. The city contract was an annual contract until now. In talking with Kelly, it was our recommendation it makes sense to have it be a longer term and have them all renew on 2017. So this is actually going to be a city contract that runs through 2017. So at that point, you can look at it. And the financial terms don't change that much. I think you can do a longer term rather than bring it back to the board every year. And then if there are changes that need to be made, we can cover that through the MOU. So that was our thinking, and this way they get lined up instead of having the city on an every year and the county every 5. This will be now, they'll be on a cycle that I think will expedite review. We can amend them at any time, and either party can terminate them early, too. I don't want you to think you're locked into 2017. There are termination provisions, but administratively, we felt it's easier. Let's set out a term of a contract and have it longer term so we don't spend a lot of time reviewing it if nothing has changed or nothing needs to change.
And my only question was, to what extent can we work out with the Sheriff's Department and the City of Concord if they're willing to make commitments at 2014 into 2017, in that case, in 2016, can they make multi-year commitments in the future? How will we plan to start the cycle up again to get an extra few years off into the future when we go through these negotiations again, so that we know into 2020 and 2025 that we'll have those services reviewed or taken care of?
And I know the hope is, and some of this is funded with grants and stuff, but a lot of them look like they'll be continuing grants. So I think the plan is for this to be a long-term, ongoing relationship. What it would call for is a renewal. We should have discussions with them sometime prior to the expiration of that 5-year term. So in 2016, we would be talking to them about what's the current financing level, has there been any change in the grants, do we want to do it? And obviously, the big move now is to add that elementary level. And that's really what's come before you today, because we've got the grant dollars now. We're putting them in the elementary schools for the first time, which I think is really these contracts address, that elementary piece, which we didn't have.
I don't know which of us will be here in 2017, but I do want to make sure that the work is in place to get those services renewed and extended into the future. Thanks very much for your work.
Thank you, Mr. Harrison, and I believe Mr. Walter had some comments.
I'm just still confused on why we're not putting the middle school officers in this contract when we talk about it in the contract. It talks about high schools, it talks about elementary schools. The city obviously provides middle school, and this is a financial thing. If they're doing it with their funds and it doesn't, no obligation, I think that should still be documented there somewhere. I mean, what type of an agreement do we actually have in place with the city that covers the middle school officers on our property?
what we have now is the 2012 agreement where the county agreed to provide officers to the middle schools in kind.
We don't have any, but my question is, my question specifically is with the city, because this is what we're looking at as a city contract here.
Okay.
Where's that?
I don't know. I don't think we actually have the city. Kelly's shaking her head. You can answer. I'm not sure we do have the city providing middle schools, right?
The city provides the actual officer, but the grant was originally a county grant. So the agreement for the middle schools is through the county.
So the county pays the city for the middle school officer
Yes.
in the city.
That's the arrangement that we have. When the grant was written, the contract was
So
between the county.
So there's another grant out there that's paying for all these other officers? Is that through paying the county's officers that they're providing? I'm a little confused. I didn't realize that we hadn't been told that.
The grant went away.
So the grant went away.
After the first few years of the grant went away, and the county continued to fund the middle school resource officers.
Okay.
So,
I just think that ought to be somewhere explained in some type of a document so we all have that understanding.
look, the county agreement says we will provide middle school officers in kind to the schools.
Again, the reason I did not put it in, this amendment is making changes, so we're changing the pay scale for high school and we're adding elementary school. So it's a supplement saying we have a long-term 5-year agreement, but we're making a change in the high school pay rate and we're adding elementary. So that's what's addressed. We're not making any change in the middle school since they had agreed to pay those in kind in 2012, which is why I don't think we need to kind of restate that hasn't changed. In my view, if we already got it covered by contract.
Well, if we already have it covered, that's one thing. I did not
We do.
realize that there was the connection with the county paying the city for school resource officers. And then so we have a memorandum of agreement that you're working on. That's with the county and the city and us. I guess that'll go over what those duties are in more detail than what's already in this contract.
That's right. We have not, I went to a Council of School Attorneys conference this summer. We spent an hour and a half looking at proposed terms for memorandum of understanding, particularly important now that we've got more SROs and in elementary schools. So we put together a pretty long memorandum of understanding that outlines in detail, this is what the SRO's responsibility is, this is school responsibility and communication. I think that'll be, I don't anticipate a lot of disagreement about what those roles are, but that is what we plan to bring you that outlines those roles in more detail than we've really had in the past. We've had a very good working relationship, but not a lot of documentation about that role. So it's our recommendation, and my recommendation as your attorney, to have that more fully documented, and that's what the MOU will do.
Yeah, well, absolutely. We're very appreciative of the roles the SROs play in our schools. The only other point in here is if it's financial terms, we don't talk about the hours that we expect the officers to be at the schools. How many? What are we getting? What are we getting for that funding? How many hours will they be at the school?
All I can say on that, I know the MOU does document, which I understand the current practices, which is basically 30 minutes prior to the first bell to 30 minutes after. I understand that's not here. It's something that hours of service is a separate paragraph in the MOU. So you're right. It's not in this document.
But
that is
you're saying it will be in an MOU?
I do. That is in the draft MOU I put together, has those hours, because it's really, MOU is a little more detailed. This is, again, more high level. This is how much we're paying and how many officers you're getting.
Right,
The
but if
MOU
you're trying
is,
just the financial calculation of that, how many hours are you getting for the dollars? That's why I would think it would be in a contract, but you're recommending it be in an MOU, I'll accept that. But
Okay, any other questions or comments? Mr. Shoemaker, Ms. Carpenter? Mr. Shoemaker?
Carol.
Well, my only comment is I think we're getting a very good value, and the only thing I can say, there's no dollar amount you can put on a human life, and and they do an outstanding job, and I think that we said when we started out that we were wanting to make sure when the parents put the child in our care. That's what we want to do. And that was a top priority. I know when we started to do the TRIGO that that was a top priority, that we wanted to make sure our schools were safe and our buses were safe, and we put cameras on, and this was one of the steps that we did. And so we've done what we set out to do.
Thank you, Ms. Carpenter. Mr. Shoemaker, did you have an additional comment or question?
Well, I agree with Ms. Carpenter's comments. I just wanted to ask you, Mark, on the previous meeting, we talked a little bit about guaranteeing or some type of memorandum of whatever it is that guarantees that the middle school will be covered by the county and that we have some type of advance notice if they decide to change, so we don't get left with the kind of situation we were left with in June when all of a sudden there were some sleights of hand done with the budget and certain programs were put at risk that didn't need to be put at risk, at least as far as the school nurses and all, where we gave that to the county and all of a sudden they're cutting an hour out of their time and someone else had to pick up that extra. So I would like to have some type of assurance that board that protects us, at least if they're going to do it, then they have to give us back the money and let us support it and not just arbitrarily cut the budget. That's what I'm concerned about.
And I guess all I can say there is they have made a contractual commitment to do it through 2017 that's part of the contract terms, is they will provide it in kind. Now, there are provisions for terminating that contract. To your point, they could say, we've had a budget crisis, we're not going to pay for SROs, and in that case, if they terminated the funding and terminated the contract, I do think they would legally have that option. I mean, it would, assume that there is a notice provision. I think it is 90 days. I'd have to look at how long ahead they'd have to give us notice of termination. I think that was put in there in part because of the, financial realities you've got. You never know how much money you're going to have the following year. So I think there's some flexibility, on both sides to say this isn't working. What we didn't do, and this does not try to renegotiate that old contract, we're really just adding elementary and changing the rate. We could certainly talk about, an amendment to that if we wanted to lengthen, the termination notice period and require a year's notice or something else, is something we could go to the county and try to do an amendment to that original contract that would change the termination terms. But in terms of the commitment to the middle school, I wasn't sure a week ago exactly how it had been handled, which is why I went back and looked. But they expressly do commit to providing all those middle school folks in kind. So that gave me a comfort level that we've got a contractual commitment. It's not just they're doing it out of the goodness of their heart. They've contractually said they will provide that in kind. So I feel better about that.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Shoemaker, and thank you for your comments and help, Mark. We certainly do appreciate it. And board members, I'm sorry, you have another comment?
Well, just for the record, I stated where I stand last week, but just for the record, I'll review. I don't like the idea of taking money out of the instructional budget to pay for security. This should be coming from other sources, from the county or from the state. That budget that we just passed a moment ago has about $750,000 in it for textbooks. We've got twice that much just here for security. I think that is not the way it should be. I think we should be at least spending as much for textbooks as we do for security for the children that read those textbooks. The other thing I don't like about the particular contract with the city is that it calls for a 12-month payment, or paying for SROs for 12 months for the elementary schools, and that's a precedent that we have not had in the past. It's always been 10 months, and I think it's a unnecessary use of what is a precious resource of taxpayer money to pay for SROs for empty schools. So I'll be voting against this.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Phillips. Any other comments or questions? I'll take a motion to approve the SRO contract as presented.
I would make a motion that we approve the contract.
I have a motion by Ms. Carpenter.
Second.
And a second by Mr. Harrison. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, Ms. Monroe, that passes 6-1. Okay, we will move on. We'll ask, thank you, Kelly, Dr. Van Hukelum to come to the podium for 9.3, our NCSBA Award for Excellence in Education Programs. And we had a good presentation by Ms. Jones last week. And did anybody else have any further comment? I think you got a lot of glowing praise from this board. I know Rob had a couple comments, and we'll give him a chance to make any more that he wants to, but we certainly do appreciate the effort in putting the documents together to be able to send up to the NCSBA. It certainly appears to be a program that's worthy of an award. So without going too far into that, we will ask, Rob, did you want to make any further comments?
Sure. Carolyn, you want? Yeah, I think there's a lot of good that we're doing with our STEM programs, and I've been a supporter of that for quite some time. But I do think that I think we're asking for this award a little bit too early. I think we have issues with our middle school that we need to fix before we can say, hey, this is a program we want repeated around the country or around the state. I mean, I really think that the high stakes testing that we're implementing right now at the middle school level, that's resulted in over 10% of our students being removed from that program at the end of a year with no second chance to take a test, with no remediation, and using an EOG test, which is, frankly, it's harder than it was when the former board approved that standard. And really using an EOG test that doesn't even line up to what we're teaching our kids. If we're teaching an advanced math class, that's not what the EOG test is. And again, especially that really scratches my head is we have it's a STEM program, which is science, and we're not using a science test or science performance to gauge the students' readiness to move on to the next level. I don't like the fact that we're transitioning students when that occurs. I mean, a middle school students that have been in that school for say 2 years or 1 year, and then we're saying, well, we want you. Sorry, you need to move to a different school, and it's just more transitions that aren't beneficial. I really have another issue when we promote our STEM program, and we do a wonderful job at the elementary school engaging kids, and we've got over 200 fifth graders. Well, only 100 of them have an opportunity to move on. Plus, that doesn't say anything with the 10,000 plus other students within our county that might want to take advantage of a STEM pipeline. That's problematic to me. I think we need to address the capacity issue there. And then really, I think we need, this is a career program to engage kids, to get kids exposed to careers in the STEM field, and to help them academically. And I think that needs to be open to more students, not just our best and brightest students. I think that making the way we've got it, I've asked for the demographics of the actual students that are in the school right now, but I don't think it's relative to the general population. I think and that is reflected in test scores, and I think that also harms some of our other schools. But we have a great STEM program. I'm supportive of that, but I do think we need to fix some of these issues prior to us deciding to go and look for an award for this. Those are my comments, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Walter. Any other comments? Everybody had a chance, I think, to talk about it last night. Okay, here is the actual application and presentation that will be submitted to the NCSBA. So without further ado, I'd like a motion and a second that the board approve the submission of the application and supporting materials to the NCSBA for the Award for Excellence in Educational Programs for the CCS STEM pipeline.
So moved.
I have a motion by Mr. Harrison.
I'll second the motion.
And a second by Mr. Shue. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, Ms. Monroe, that passes 6-1. And we will look forward to sending that up to the NCSBA. So now, board members, make sure I'm not skipping a page. I need a motion and a second that the board convene in closed session pursuant to General Statute 143-318.11A3, 143.318-11A5, 143-318.11A6, and 115C-319 through 321.
Mr. Chair, I move that we convene in closed session pursuant to the general statutes you quoted.
Thank you, Mr. Shue. I have a motion by Mr. Shue.
Second.
A second by Mr. Harrison. He's on a roll. I think that's all of them tonight. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? This board is now in closed session.